Hey, it's Caressa.
Hey, it's Maddie.
You're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to
Dreadfully Twisted. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
We are back again.
Guess who's back again. Dreadfully Twisted's back. Tell your friends.
Now dance.
Yeah. A quick word from our sponsors. Here's Maisie, or Pearl, scratching on the scratching post. And now she's done.
Drinking water. She wanted you to hear her. She was dancing.
She was dancing too, yeah.
Oh my god. So, really quick, since we're talking about animals, really quick before we get started here. I told you this before we started, but we get a bark box every month for the dogs. And today we got cryptids. We got Mothman, Bigfoot, and Nessie. So they have tags on them too. So I'm going to read them really quick. So the Mothman one, his name's Manny Mothman. Last sniffed December 15th, 1967. Territory marked Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And then it says, did Chew know? Like Chewy. Some believe that the Mothman, a two-legged winged humanoid, appeared before disasters in order to warn people something bad is about to happen. If only he had flown by before your dog gobbled up that sidewalk trash. And then Bigfoot is called Buddy Bigfoot. He's Carrie Stainer's buddy.
Yeah. His bestie.
A few episodes ago.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Last sniffed October 5th, 2022. Territory marked Cambria County, PA. And it says, did you know, according to the 2020 poll, 11% of adults in the U.S. believe in the legendary ape-like creature known as Bigfoot. There 89% feel those believers are most likely just barking at nothing. And then Nessie is called the Loch Ness Monster. Last sniffed August 31st, 2023. Territory marked Loch Ness, Scotland. And it said, did you know the most famous picture of the Loch Ness Monster, the surgeon's photograph of 1934, was revealed as a hoax in 1994. 9 out of 10 cryptozoologists say your dog's hashtag #BarkDay box pic with this toy is too cute to be true. I thought those are so cute because whenever Jeremy said that we got the bark box in, and he was like, they're so cute because he texted me. And I was like, okay. I was like expecting like last time we got like a movie theater pack one, and before that we got a Valentine's Day themed one.
Yeah.
And then one time before we got like a outdoorsy one. Mm-hmm. So I was expecting like something along those lines. I was not expecting cryptids. Whenever I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, BarkBox knows us so well.
I love that.
It was adorable.
And I seen the pictures and they're so cute.
They're so cute. If you want to see them, should I share them on the social media page?
Yeah.
That'd be so cute. Okay, yeah. Follow our social medias if you want to see that, because they are adorable.
They are.
And whenever I was like opening them to look at the tags, the dogs were like staring at like Nessie and they were barking and going absolutely crazy. So I was like, I'm so sorry, Nessie, I'm gonna have to give you to the dogs. So then they were tearing her apart. But I like told the dogs, I was like, I want to keep these for myself. Like, they're just cute little like toys. Yeah. They're so adorable. But so yeah, that was my highlight of the week, I guess.
Adorable.
Even that just happened today, so it was pretty much the highlight of today. Okay, I don't know if you're ready to get into this.
Uh-oh.
It's very heavy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's very graphic, and I'm just going to lay a trigger warning up front now for sexual assault. Suicide very, very quickly. I'm gonna go like breeze over that because it's not really anything important like in the story, but I still want to just highlight that little tidbit. And then there are graphic descriptions of bloody and gore. So if this is not for you, skip this episode. We completely understand.
And if you do, we love you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. And then even then, if you want to listen, I will tell you when the graphic and all that stuff is coming up, so you can skip ahead if you want to. But just letting you know up front, it is very graphic. This story was insane. So yeah, that is just the laying down of this episode.
So buckle up.
Yeah, and did you like this is our 22nd episode. That's crazy to me.
I know.
That's crazy. Okay.
I feel like 25 we need to have like a little baby celebration.
We should. And then when we get to 50 we'll have a celebration. What should we do?
I don't know.
What was that? You looked over, you're like, huh?
I know, I hear something about it.
That's okay. So let's get started here, I guess. I don't know where to put this.
We will find something to do for our celebrations.
Yeah.
Our anniversary, dreadfully twisted anniversary parties.
Well, it's gonna be our anniversary next month.
Woo!
For 1 year. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It's been crazy. It's been a hectic 1 year. I mean, it only took us a year to get like on schedule.
Yeah, seriously.
But we're here. We're doing better now, guys. I'm finally getting like life together.
Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I didn't mention this, but I wanted to tell you.
Oh yeah, didn't you? Wait, go ahead.
I actually started a case, and then I was like quarter of the way done with it, and changed my mind completely about the case I wanted to do.
Oh wow! So for next time?
Yeah. So I started a whole nother case. So now I have like 2 cases in the works. So like I'll have like one like a little bit prepared for the next time. So I'm like, ooh, this is nice because like then I like have a little bit done of that one.
That's what I want to try to do. Like as soon as like we do today, and like I know next week's gonna be your like episode, but I'm gonna start next week because like this week, I got my research done, but I like did it while I was at work.
Yeah.
So I hope none of my work people listen to this. I mean, it was like right after lunch. It was only for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was only for like 5 minutes. Just right in the last sentence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely. Okay. So I came across this case and it was just so shocking and unbelievable. Like I said, this one's very heavy and very graphic, so be prepared to skip this one if you want to. That is okay. There's trigger warnings. However, I felt like this needed to be told because of the powerfulness and how amazing Alison Botha truly is. Because, to believe it or not, she survives. And everything works against her in this where she shouldn't have survived.
I know this one. This is the one we were talking about.
Yeah, yep. Did you like know a lot about it or just like the basics?
Just like the basics of it.
Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna go into like the nitty gritty, and I didn't think it was gonna be as long as it was, but I have like 15 pages or more. Actually, I have like 20 pages of like research here, and I also used just let you know like my sources. I watched the documentary that Alison actually like released. It's called Alison. Aww. I do suggest watching it, although there are graphic scenes in it because it's like a portrayal and stuff. But it's very powerful to see her talking in her like for her story and in her like perspective, I guess is what it was. Yeah. It's a very powerful documentary, and I do recommend going and watch it. I watched it on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it on there, or you can rent it probably on like Apple or Google Play or something like that.
Well, I know what I'm watching later.
Yeah. It's only an hour, but it's very. I really do recommend watching it. Yeah. Although this is where I got all my resources from, and I got some from like other articles and stuff. But there are 2 people who had done this. They're complete monsters. They're sick and disgusting human beings. And
we hate them.
Yeah, we hate them. We hate them. And I even put in my notes, if you even want to consider them human beings. Because they're disgusting and awful, and I hate them. So we're going to go to 1994 in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Alison Botha, who was 27 years old.
Talking is hard.
Talking is hard. She was born September 22nd, 1967. September is my favorite month. So like whenever I saw that was her birthday, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Her parents divorced when she was 10. In 1994, Alison wasn't sure of what she wanted to do. At this time, she was working as an insurance broker. I got that from another source. She didn't have a career plan yet, which is totally okay. I mean, I totally get that. I'm almost 25 and I don't know what I want to do with my life either.
Same.
So that I'm only saying that because she said that and that's from her words, but I don't think that's a bad thing because like I don't know what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, same.
Alison said herself that even growing up, she had no desire to be anything. When she was older, like she didn't have like any great dreams, nothing specifically. She claims she wasn't good at school either. After school, she studied the category of secretarial work, which was something that to fall back on, which her mom had suggested for her to do. I'm sorry if you hear my papers because I wrote my research down to this time. She spent 4 years overseas before she came back home. Her mom was happy to have her like home because she felt like she was finally safe since she wasn't like she was overseas. She wasn't overseas anymore. But December 18th, 1994, it was summer for Africa, which I was like, whenever I like was watching the documentary, I was like, summer? And I was like, it's winter here in December. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, I wish it was summer in December. It would make Christmas better.
Yeah, seriously.
It was like any other summer day. She was with her friends. They went back to Alison's house. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah, I wrote that right. Sorry. I'm like thinking ahead because I don't know. My brain's like everywhere today, so I apologize. But it was like any other summer day with her friends. They went back to Alison's house after being at the beach all day. They ordered pizza and played games. After hanging out, she took her friend home, picked up her laundry at her house because her friend was doing her laundry for her. And then she went back home. When she arrived back to her house, her parking spot was taken. That was in front of her house, so she had to park a little further down the road, which I get is like completely like normal because that happened to me at our old apartment that we used to live at.
Yeah.
We were able to park in front of like our house, but if somebody took it, we had to park all the way down the road. And then I was terrified to walk like, a block and a half to my actual house. So I get that. Like, it's very frustrating, and I can feel the frustration in that. Her friends and family thought she was home safe. However, she is not yet. When she went to get out of her car, a guy came up to her, put a knife at her throat, and said, "Move over or else I will kill you."
We hate you.
Yeah, we hate him very much. And you'll see even more why. Her car doors weren't locked, so that's how he was able to get into her car because she wasn't actually out of the car yet. She was getting prepared to like leave the car, like as you do whenever you pull into your parking space. You know, you grab your keys, you make sure you have your purse and stuff like that. And she had laundry in the back seat, so she also had to grab that. So she was just like getting all her stuff together before she got out of the car to get her laundry. And just a little PSA: always lock your car doors.
Yes, please.
Like, as soon as I get my car, I lock it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, like, this is bad on her or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just PSA for future, always lock your car doors. And this is the reason why. Alison didn't know exactly what to do. She wanted to believe in the best outcome from the situation, so she hadn't got out or jumped out of the car, which I can understand because your flight or flight response will kick in here, and you don't know how you would really react in this situation until it actually happens to you.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be like, oh, you could say like, oh, I'll jump out of the car, I'll do this, but once it happens, you're like, wait, and then your body just kicks into like your flight or fight response, and you don't know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then you will act completely different than what you actually were going to think you were going to do in that situation. So I understand that she didn't get out or jump out of the car because she's probably also like terrified.
Yeah.
Like, a guy just put a knife up to your throat saying, "Move over, I'll kill you."
Yeah.
And then now you're stuck in the car. So I completely understand that. Also, the guy said that he didn't want to hurt her, only that he wanted to use her car for like an hour. Which, okay, if you just wanted to use her car, like, kick her out of the car then.
Yeah, seriously.
He told Alison his name was Clinton and asked her if she had a boyfriend. This gave her a false sense of security, and she thought that maybe he really just needed a car, which I get, like, if he gives you like a false sense of security, and if he doesn't, like, but at the same time, he put a knife up to your throat.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it. I totally get it because, like, I mean, you want to believe the best in every situation. And then, like, I have in my notes, I have this. I was like, why? Why do killers, rapists, etc. always try to be nice and do things to give a false sense of security before they do the awful things? Like, they'll be like, oh, I'm such a nice guy. But, like, really, they're gonna, like, kill you.
Yeah, literally.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Like, you're putting on, like, an act for nothing. But I don't know. Maybe it was because he didn't want her to fight.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking. or something. I don't know. I mean, we'll find out later, but after he asked her that, he pulled over and stopped the car. Now, another guy got into the car, and once he did, Alison looked into the rearview mirror and saw his eyes, and this is when she got scared. All she saw was dead, cold, evil eyes. That's when she realized that she was not going to be going home.
Oh.
Yeah. They drove into a place that had no streetlights, and as the lights disappeared, Alison got more scared, and she said that hope started to leave her. They arrived in an alcove and stopped, and it was so dark then Clinton calmly asked, "Are you going to fight?"
Wow.
Yeah.
What a POS.
Right? And then Alison thought to herself, do I fight? How do I fight? I don't know how to fight. Which that in itself is terrifying because, like, he just calmly asked her,
yeah,
"Are you going to fight?"
Like, what? How do you even take that? Like, I'd be in shock.
It's like you don't even know what's happening for one. Like, you don't even know how this is, like, happening to you. And then, like, you don't even know if you should fight. And then, like, you probably didn't even cross her mind. And then, like, he asks, it's just, like, it blows my mind. Like, the stuff that this guy says blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, what kind of, like, he's such a monster. Like,
that's literally how I felt last episode, talking about Cruz and, like, the stuff that he was saying. I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, who says that? Like, him and Cameron, both of them. What is wrong with them?
Yeah.
And what is wrong with them, like him? Like,
what's wrong with this Clinton guy?
Exactly.
And I'm saying that in quotations because that's not really his name.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Trigger warning here for the sexual assault and rape. So if you can't handle this, skip ahead for like 30 seconds to a minute. So, yeah. Unfortunately, Maddie's stuck here listening to me. Unless she wants to dissociate for like a second, then. But he then forced her to have oral sex with him and reciprocated it to her, saying absolutely disgusting things like to her, like, "Does your boyfriend do this to you?" and asking her if she liked it. Absolutely foul. Worst person ever.
You're disgusting.
Like, that is disgusting. I don't even know how that can even come out of your mouth. Like,
Daisy wants to read the next sentence.
No, don't. No. She went on my laptop and I thought she was going to delete everything. Okay. After sexually assaulting her, which I won't go into detail, he then raped her. After this, the other guy, Clinton, after this, the other guy called Clinton Franz as he was coming over to him, and then she realized his name was not Clinton. And then she heard the other guy's name, Tien's. This gets graphic, and I don't even want to go over this, so I'm just going to quickly say this. Franz asked Tien's if he wanted to do things to this lovely lady.
Ew.
Yeah. Then Tien said no, and graphically said what he wanted to do, and then Franz said, "You can't talk to her like that. She's a lady. You must speak to her properly. You must speak properly to her."
Wow.
Yeah, I put, what?
You must talk nice. You must be nice to this woman.
After he just sexually assaulted her and raped her, he says this.
Oh my God.
That's sickening.
And literally kidnapped her in her own car.
With a knife.
Like, yeah.
And then he's just absolutely foul. The foulest person you can ever think of.
Literally.
That's what this Franz guy is.
Franz.
Yeah, his name's Franz Dutoit. Or I don't know how to say, I don't know how to speak French. But Franz Dutoit, I think, is what his name is.
Well, we hate you.
Yeah.
We hate you, Franz.
We hate him. Oh, I guess even worse. It's just so sickening that he said that after what he just did to her.
Yeah.
His hands then were on her throat. They tried to suffocate her, but then realized it was too hard. Alison said the next thing she remembered was, and this gets really graphic, her intestines were out of her body. Yeah. Alison was stabbed in the abdomen and pubic area, which we find out later 37 times. Tien's cut her throat first. He was the first one too. Franz then pushed Tien's out of the way. Alison said the moon behind him gave him a halo. And I wrote in my notes, "Oh God, I can't even imagine how that would look."
I know.
Like, oh my God, like giving that guy, this monstrous guy, a halo from the moon.
Definitely should have been reflecting some devil horns.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I didn't think I was gonna cry during this, but I'm starting to tear up because I like reread this like a couple times. I watched the documentary and I was fine. Now like talking about it, I'm like, this is harder than I thought. And I even told Jeremy about this case and like and then stuff, and he was listening to me, but like this is hard right now. Like actually realizing what she went through. Like I mean, I realized it before, but oh my god, my heart goes out to her so much.
It's like literally petrifying. It's like this case is like a horror movie.
It literally is. It literally is. So he then slashed her throat 17 times.
What is wrong with you?
I wrote OMG in caps with exclamation points, and I underscrolled it because like that's insane.
It's literally like so unnecessary. It's not even.
This whole thing's unnecessary.
Yeah, it's all unnecessary.
Then the next thing she knew, she saw their feet get smaller and smaller and the voices got fainter, and she heard the car start to drive off. And as they did, they threw her clothes out of the car and on the ground. She couldn't feel any pain, but she heard, okay, this gets graphic. So I apologize, but I have to say all the details of this.
It's what happened. So
because you have to know it in order to understand how amazing she is and how like I can't believe she survived this and she overcame this. Like if I was her, I would not like even want to go further.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so she heard the noise from her windpipe, and that was horrifying. That is when the realization hit her. She was severely hurt and wasn't going to live. She said she literally left her body and the noise stopped. At this point, Alison was having an out-of-body experience. She said in the documentary that she said she remembered she had a choice to go back or to leave, and she decided to go back and live. Once she was back, the noise started up again with the strength that she did have. And this is very powerful here. She wrote their names in the sand. She wrote Franz and Tien's. She wrote it because she didn't want them doing this to anyone else. She hoped that they would go to like get caught and sent to jail if she did die. Then she wrote, and this part is probably gonna make me freaking cry. Okay. Then she wrote in the sand, "I love Mom," which is heartbreaking because she realized that, oh my god, I can't see because I'm literally crying right now. Holy crap. Okay. It just went blurry for a second. Then she realized that there was something wet by her legs, and this gets graphic. It was actually her intestines. They were out of her body, so she was able to reach up to reach her denim shirt that was just like up above, that was close to her, with one hand and use it to hold in her intestines. And then she started to use her other hand to try to crawl. She thought to herself, if she did die here, no one would know that she survived a bit. And then she thought about her mom and how her mom would have so many questions, and she thought she couldn't do that to her, and the pain started to come back. And she realized that crawling was too slow and she wasn't going to make it if she kept crawling. So she used what strength she did have left and stood up. And this gets more graphic.
Yeah.
Than
when you thought it was as graphic as it could get. It's not.
Yeah, so I'm just warning you because, I mean,
yeah,
just in case you can't handle this, because I'm a very queasy person and I don't know how I was able to research this. But yeah, so, but she couldn't see anything when she stood up. Everything went black, but she knew she didn't pass out or anything. She just couldn't see. So to try to figure out what was going on, Alison took her hand to her throat, and this is very, very graphic, like I said. But when she did, her hand just went right through and her neck was severed. Her head was almost decapitated. Her head was actually hanging behind her between her shoulder blades.
Literally terrifying.
Yeah. And the fact that like she survived this is absolutely insane. So she decided to take her other hand and pulled up her head back to where it's supposed to be. And now she could see. The next thing she knew, she was at the road. Alison said she doesn't remember walking there or anything, but she was just there. But when she did arrive to the road, she just collapsed because she used all her energy. I mean, I don't even know how you get energy for that, to be honest. Like, you have some strength. Mm-hmm. Alison was afraid that Franz and Tien's was coming back. But the car, because there was a car coming, and the car stopped, but it sped off once I guess they saw her. Another car came and stopped, and in this car was a 20-year-old Tien Ellard. Not the same Tien TNs as before. It's a different TN. They're spelled differently, different like pronunciation, but I'm just letting you know it's a different guy. And he was a 20-year-old. He was a 20-year-old veterinarian student. He was on holiday in Port Elizabeth with friends. This road was a deserted road on the outskirts of town. He said the first thing they saw when they got out of the car was a person laying in the road with no clothes on. And he did say that's like an unforgettable like thing. And I can't even imagine being 20 and coming across her.
That would be like traumatizing.
In that state. Yeah. But we love this TN.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's a hero in the story. And Alison herself is a hero in the story because she saved herself and he saved her. Okay, taking a deep breath because this is heavy. He said once he got out to Alison, she couldn't speak. Her eyes were bloodshot and her eyes looked scared. And this is like so sweet. It's gonna make me cry of like sweetness. Tian said, "Listen, you've got nice eyes."
Aww.
He started doing what he could to keep her alive. He used his shirt to try to stop the bleeding. One of his friends actually had a cell phone, which was a new thing in the 90s. He called emergency services, and they said that they would send out an ambulance, which was about a 15-minute drive from where the hospital was to where they were. But it took them 40 minutes for them to arrive.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You could have been dead by then, like.
Yeah. I think I'm speaking too close to the microphone. I'm sorry if I'm like really loud. So Tian got into the ambulance with Alison, and they didn't feel like the people in the ambulance, like the people driving and stuff, they didn't feel the urgency of the situation. Tian said it was almost like they were like, she's not going to make it, so why rush?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's heavy. That is very heavy. I mean, that's what he said. That's how it felt. Once they got to the hospital, they took her back in the room, and that was the first time through this whole entire thing that Tian let go of her hand. Whole entire time he was holding her hand, which was so sweet. Yeah, he's so sweet. Up to this point, from the time of the abduction to the hospital, it had only been an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. Tian said that day impacted his life significantly. He said it was basically what he needed to make a decision with what he was going to do for the rest of his life. I can't even imagine being a 20-year-old and seeing this. He's such a good person.
Yeah.
He decided at that point he would become a doctor.
Aw. Well, good. That's definitely a good path for him. And honestly, like, teenage boys, like, well, he's not a teenager, he's 20, but, like, young boys, like, these days probably would not stop. Like, it would either be scared or just be like, F no, I ain't doing that, like, you know, like, leaving, but, like, there's, I just love that there's, like, good people in the world that, you know.
Yeah. Like, out of...
Like him.
Like, out of the two monsters who did this to her, there was this guy who decided that he was gonna save her life that night. Being a 20-year-old kid. And, like...
Yeah. And the car before him literally left, like...
Like, it is very, very...
Yeah.
There's like no words for this. Yeah, I'm just realizing that I was talking way too close to the microphone, so I'm gonna have to edit this later and like make myself quieter, and I don't know how to do that. So I'm sorry if I seem loud because I was talking way too close. I was like up the freaking microphone. The doctor who submitted Alison said he never witnessed such a horrible attack or injury that Alison had suffered. I can't even imagine what the doctors were going through either. Like, I can't imagine any of this. Like, I can't imagine what Alison went through, and then I can't imagine being the people that had to like be there as well. And it gets graphic because I'm gonna go into detail of her wounds, so just letting you know. He said her neck wound was the most horrific. It was from, I'm quoting this, ear to ear. The trachea and the windpipe had been cut through completely, and she was breathing through a huge hole above her collarbone. Her neck had 17 slashes, then her stomach wound. Alison was completely disemboweled, and it was contaminated with sand, charcoal, and other things. The doctors were stunned by what happened to Alison. She was stabbed 37 times due to her injuries. And the extent of them, the doctors said that she would never be able to have kids. surgeon at that hospital was Dr. Dmitry Angelov. He was told to get an ENT surgeon for Allison's um, neck wound, but he said in his country he is trained both as an ENT surgeon and a general surgeon. Said he could do the surgery. They had to act fast and correctly to fix the neck wound. Like they had to be like specific with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. The surgeon said that the first impression Allison had like to him was when she was signing the consent form. She was signing it with a steady hand, and he said you wouldn't think such an injured person can write and think or can write in such a comprehensible way. Allison also wrote her mom's phone number under her signature. They cleaned up her intestines and rebuilt her and sewn her up. Allison made it through. They didn't let her see anyone for 24 hours. All the doctors and everyone believed Allison was a miracle. There was no reason she should have survived or been as um or been as
Literally me trying to read my own handwriting.
Well, I rewrote some of it because my handwriting was really bad.
Yeah.
And I stopped because I didn't have time to rewrite all of it. So I really apologize. That says lucid. So they believe that there is no reason she should have survived or been as lucid as she was. But the reasons as described by doctors, starting with her wound to her neck, the blood vessels that supply blood from the head to the brain were not hit and they were still intact. If they would have been cut, then she would have died within 3 to 4 minutes. Then there are nerves that come down in from your neck that to supply like your organs to like keep them functioning. And those nerves were not touched either. Her esophagus was not touched or damaged. The trachea was severed, however, it was miraculously healed after she had the surgery.
Wow.
Allison also had multiple stab wounds in her chest, but somehow they didn't damage any organs, like the lungs or the heart. The stab wounds have missed them completely. The abdomen was a huge open wound from when she was disemboweled. Somehow no infection occurred when this happened, even though there was sand and charcoal and all that stuff in there. Somehow there was no infection.
Wow.
Yeah.
This whole case is like a miracle.
Yeah, literally. There were multiple stab wounds around that wound in the abdomen, which also did not touch any organs. The police showed up the following day after being called in, and the one officer knew of Franz Dutoit from the previous rape arrest.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So, let's just, yeah. So the police gave her a folder and she was looking through it, and once she got to Franz's picture, she pointed it out and wrote Franz on that piece of paper. Police turned over a few more, and then Allison pointed to a picture of Tien's and wrote his name on that paper. At that time, that was enough for the police and the investigation. However, later in the day, they came back and told Dr. Angelov that they needed that the chief prosecutor said that they needed Allison to say her attackers' names.
Why? She wrote them down.
Right?
She can't. She literally got her throat cut. Like, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
That made me mad.
Yeah, that makes me mad too. And it gets worse. The doctor was scared of that because then they would have to remove the tube that was supplying oxygen to her lungs since her neck was severed. In order for it to heal, they had to put this tube in for her to breathe through so it could heal her like throat, because like if she were to breathe through it, it could tear anything. But because Allison wasn't able to speak, the doctor was worried that if he removed the tube, it would disrupt the trachea suture line and stuff and jeopardize all the work they had done to fix it. The doctor asked Allison her opinion, and Allison wrote, "Take it out."
Wow.
Once the doctor told her the tube was removed, the first thing she said was, "That's wonderful." And then she said, my attackers were Franz and Tien's. So she was able to speak.
Wow.
Yeah. Friends and family were not able to see Allison right away due to all the surgeries and stuff. Once they saw that her eyes were completely bloodshot. Blood vessels burst in her eyes because of her attack, and she smiled at her friends and didn't want them to be sad for her.
Aww.
She said to her friends, "Look, don't cry, guys. Look, I didn't even crack a nail."
Aww.
But she did crack a nail, though.
Aww.
She was trying to, like, cheer them up, even though, like, she's the one that needs cheering up. And that's why, like, she's just such an amazing person. She was just, like, oh, I don't know, like, I feel like I would have been friends with her.
I know.
I mean, she's still, I mean, I'll get to there later, but, yeah. But, like I said, her nails were cracked and they were dirty and bloody. Alison was worried that she wouldn't be able to thank everyone who had reached out to her and sent cards and flowers, so she put a thank you in the newspaper for everyone. She was able to survive her attack. However, she needed to get through the court case. After she got released from the hospital, she had to go back every day to the doctor to treat her injuries, specifically the wound on her abdomen. He had to scrape it till it bled so new cells could grow. And she still had to have plastic surgery later on. But I can't even imagine. Like, you finally got that healed, and you have to go back every day for her to scrape it just for it to bleed again.
That's terrifying.
And she still is in pain even today. Issues that have continued, like medical issues from this. So it's like a constant battle for her. And she's still alive today. Like, she's like in her, I think she's like in her 50s now, I would think. I don't know. Before Alison's attack, 2 other women were raped. The first woman reported it after a week to the police because she was threatened that if she did, they would kill her. The second woman, who was pregnant at the time, which is so sad, I can't even imagine, ran straight to a police van right after it happened and reported it immediately. Franz and Tian decided that their next victim, who was abducted and raped, that they'll have to kill her because the first 2 didn't listen and reported them when they were threatened that they would kill them.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also have in my notes how the police like got them was, I didn't save it, did I? Hold on, I have to find it. Okay, so the officer said that they raided the apartment in the early hours of the morning where Dutoit and Kruger, as well as 2 women and a baby, were found. Except for the baby, the rest of them were still awake. Franz and Tien's were bare-chested and very calm and cooperated. The police found bloody clothes of the men in the laundry basket. A knife, which still contains some of Alison's blood, was found in a drawer.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't even imagine, like, you did this horrible thing and you just go back home to your house.
Yeah,
like,
literally, and act
like
nothing happened. Yeah.
They were able to catch them because of all that, and what I'm going to get into here in a second. But I just wanted to say that really quick. So, after Franz was taken into custody, Franz was surprised that he had been charged with attempted murder. He asked why attempted murder, then the police officer said because Alison is alive. Franz was so surprised, and then he said, "There's obviously nothing I can hide from you, since she will tell you everything that happened." And he picked up his hand and took off a ring he was wearing and said, "That belongs to Alison."
Wow.
Yeah. There was blood on it still, on the ring, and they found out later that it was Alison's blood through, like, investigating and, like, the forensic analyst team. The officer, which I think is the investigating officer, which is, his last name's, Humpel. I will get into his name later. Made sure that they had all the evidence. They had all of it taken, all samples, all exhibits were sent to the forensics for analysis, because even though they were going to plead guilty, they could change their mind, and the officer wanted to make sure that he could give everything that he could to the prosecutor to build a case in case they did decide not to plead guilty, because the prosecutor can only prosecute what they were, like, evidence they were given. So he did everything in his power to make sure that they had all the evidence against these men. And she had to say which oh no, did I, like, completely mess this up? Yeah. So I had this backwards. He'll make sure that they would get charged. The prosecutor can only prosecute what was given to them. Alison had to be prepared for trial. She had to be assessed before trial, which this has only been 5 to 6 months after the attack. She had to get pictures and analyzed to see how she was recovering, which is just so traumatic in itself, and like just to get like analyzed and everything. And they had to make sure like her mental state was okay and everything for her to like go to trial. It was just like a whole process before the trial. The police said that she was prepared to do whatever they asked her to do without argument or questions because they were doing that for her. And the investigating officer is Melvin Humple. For Alison, he was hugely supported Alison in the case because he attended an identification parade. The laws were that the victim had to place their hand on the attacker's shoulder to identify them, and as well as stand there with them for a picture to prove that they had been identified by the victim. The victim had to go up to their attacker, put their hand on their shoulder, and be like, "This is my attacker."
Why?
That's so traumatizing.
It is.
Like, let alone they're scared to even be in the same room as them. Like, how can they just go up to them and touch them after what they did?
Exactly.
However, this is why Melvin Humple is a great human being, decided that there needed to be a new way, and this has never happened in South Africa before, but he decided to do the identification through one-way glass, which today isn't how we do normal identifications for victims.
Thank you, sir.
Right?
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, like he is oh, I love this guy.
Finally someone with some common sense.
Right? Allison said that even though it was one-way glass, she was still scared because the thought of being in the same room with them was terrifying for her. She left work and went to the station, and when her name was called, she went to ID them without warning. They're just like, "Oh, come in this room," and then bam, they're right there. She wanted to do it fast, but also wanted to do it right because it was terrifying for her. Every second felt too long, and this happened in March of 1995. She had to say which numbers they were wearing. You can watch the clip from the documentary. They actually play this, like her actually like identifying them, which was very powerful to me. Like I was like, whoa. Surprised they put that in the documentary, but they did. She said number 6 and number 13 in the video. This case was haunting for everyone involved, obviously including Allison. I don't know how to say the prosecutor's name, but I think it's Hanley Baker. She was involved with the trial because she was the prosecutor. This one was so different for her because victims who received these injuries were deceased, but Allison survived. She said she went home, the prosecutor said that she went home that night and cried and couldn't believe she was alive. She also said on a daily basis, she would drive past the houses where they had breakfast, like Tien's and Franz, where they had breakfast with the bloody knife they used after, and it became real to her again every time. The judge, who was the one for this trial, Chris Jansen, said he would always try to forget and prepare for the next case, but with Allison's case, it was completely different. He said he immediately noticed the scar on her neck, and when Allison gave evidence, she said at one point, "I always thought my neck was a strong feature of my appearance, and look at my neck now."
Aww.
Yeah. The judge also said he would never forget Franz and Tien's faces. Franz was staring at him the whole time and would look him in the eyes, trying to intimidate him. At the trial, Franz gave evidence and testified he was a Satanist while being investigated and while being in prison. Franz requested to see a pastor because he wanted the demons to cast out of his body. They had to follow through with the request, and they called a pastor that Humple knew that would do that. They took him to a holding cell so that the exorcism, in quotes, was conducted. He was asked if he was prepared to testify in court, and he agreed. Then he mentioned demons, incubus, and succubus, and Franz actually confused them, which proved that this was just a ploy for him and that he was like playing them for him to believe that he was a Satanist, and the devil made him do it.
Wow.
Yeah. But he was obviously lying.
He thought he was so smart, didn't he?
I don't know why, like, killers always do that. They're always like, "Oh, the devil made me do it."
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was the voices in my head.
Yeah, it was just you being crazy. You're a sociopath.
Maybe don't be a psychopath?
Right? Just live a normal life, maybe, and then maybe you'd be happy.
Just an idea.
I hate these guys. But this next part is so funny and makes me love Humple even more. Because he said to Franz and Tien's that he wasn't going to cuff them, and that they will see that it is for a reason. That he wanted them to run and make his day and run, because he would have shot them without batting an eye. He said he doesn't believe in hunting or like hunting, and he doesn't like killing, but he would have shot them in an instant if they were, but they were never handcuffed and they never ran front. And that was just like so funny because he was just like, I would have shot you in an instant because he was like, you are terrible people.
Yep.
He even called them like evil incarnate and everything because like they're just terrible people.
Yeah.
This is when the trigger warning comes in for suicide, but I'm gonna go over it very quickly. Fran's dad couldn't deal with what his son had done. 2 years later, he killed himself. So I said that really fast because I just want to get that over with because I know people. Yeah. So when the judge was doing the proper sentencing, he requested that he requested, since they had previous instances of raping and doing this before, even though they didn't like stab them or harm them in any other way besides raping them, the judge requested on paper, which was typed up, that these guys should never and will never get paroled.
Good.
And he requested it should be placed on record for both guys. So in prisons, so other authorities can see that they were a threat to society and that the judge never wanted them released from prison, which is something he has never done before and he never did after this. But the Constitutional Court at that stage found the death penalty in South Africa was unconstitutional. The judge said that today, thinking back, that he would have considered the death sentence and most likely would have imposed it. But since it wasn't legal in South Africa, he couldn't. Yeah. So he put on there no parole for either of them. But that comes back. Alison said the toughest part of the trial wasn't reliving it. She kind of was emotionally removed from it in a way. It was like watching a courtroom TV drama, which is a direct quote from her, which she actually likes watching those. For her, it was, she was kind of surprised when she heard her name and then realized that it was about her again. Her and her mom had a notebook and they would make notes like, where are we going for lunch that day, or the tough and stuff like that, or they would put like little notes back and forth to each other. The tough part for her was all the media attention because she was so lucky to have a trial. Because most of the cases don't get one, so there was so much media attention because there was a trial. Alison said for her there was no celebration, because they took something from her that she can't get back, and she is continually trying to heal from it. It's what others want and what she wants, but there was no healing point or finality. But as time passes, it does seem to get easier, and what happened does seem to have a less like power hold over her. But it's hard, and sometimes she goes right back to when it all happened. In the documentary, it's so powerful because there's this scene where she looks at a box and says, "This is the last bit of the Alison that died that night." Pulls out flip-flops, a denim jacket, and she dumps all the things that she was wearing and had that day and throws it into a trash can. So it's just like powerful because like watching it, you see the emotion on her face, and then you just see her like be like, "I'm done." Yeah, this part of me, it happened, but like I'm trying to get over it. And it's just like, oh, it hits me in the spot. For Alison, it was hard to go back to what life was before. She couldn't stay in the place she was living. She moved in with her mom. And her mom helped her out like a lot. Like she took care of her bandages and her like wounds, like physically. And Alison became depressed, and her mental state wasn't the best. And she started not to care. She said it was a big deal because she was like she always had responsibility, and she was responsible and always cared, but stopped going to work and didn't care if she didn't care about anything, and she blamed Franz and Tien's for how she was feeling, which she has a total right to, I believe, because like if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't have happened, and she would be like, but then it gets happy again. Because then she thought about when it happened that she literally chose between life and death. And she chose life, and she knew she wasn't coming back to the life she had before. She realized she was giving Franz and Tien's her power again, and she had to once again choose life. And in her depth of depression, she got a Rotary Club invite for her to go and speak her story, and she didn't want to disappoint them. So she said being her, she went to like not disappoint them. So she went to this Rotary Club invite to go speak her story. She didn't want to disappoint them, and so she went and she told her story, and she said it actually made her feel better. So she kept telling her story, and still does to today. It gives her cause, purpose, healing, and she traveled the world and meets new people, and she loves it. The documentary shows videos of her around the time, and it's just so powerful to see her and her. She's just being silly and stuff, and like in like the one video, she's just like smiling, and, like doing like a little dance, and, like it's like so cute. And then it's just amazing that she like how amazing she is. She shares her story and how she overcame the difficulties of it. She's an inspiration that shows that you can get through anything. It shows her clips from her motivational speaking and stuff, and like those things that she says like just empowers you. The other time she said she got in depression again was when she read that in the newspaper that her attackers might come up for parole. When the judge put a note on it saying that they should never again be with the public or see the light of day, she said it's very hard for everyone, her mom, her dad, her friends. She is scared for them that they might get out. And then this part, I can't believe it. Ron's fiance, who lives in America, reached out to Alison to help her after everything he did.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he had access to Facebook with access to warped sex rooms on Facebook too. And Alison wrote to the police telling them about it all and asking them to please not let him or anyone know it was her. But she found out that it was printed and given to Franz.
Wow.
Yeah. Franz requested an interview with the documentary, but he demanded 1, a letter of forgiveness from Alison, which he had to be signed. 2, which I can't believe this, he requested profit shares from Alison's book sales and her motivational speaking, because backdated, because he believes that what he did to Alison is the reason for her success story and why she's making money. So he believes he deserves some of that.
POS.
Right?
You're literally the problem. Like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you, Franz.
Obviously his request was denied. Even though Alison was told she would never be able to have kids, she had not 1 but 2 miracle babies.
Aww.
Her 2 boys. The 20-year-old kid Tien. I forget how I said his name. I'm so sorry. Tien. Yeah. My brain's not working now. I'm sorry. It's just like blah. That night became a doctor. And he was there helping deliver her second child. Aww. He was the assisting doctor in her pregnancy birth. Her birth. What the heck was that?
Cat fight outside.
Jesus, that was loud. She got pregnant easy, and there were healthy pregnancies with no issues. But she was worried because of the injuries to her abdomen and her scarring. She said she loves being a mother. So this next part is like crazy after this part. But on August 7th, 1995, Franz Dutoit was sentenced to 3 life terms without parole. Tiens Krager was sentenced to 1 life term and 25 years without parole. Life in prison was rare in Africa. However, in October 2015, they became eligible for parole. And when they were attacking her, this is also something. The reason why, I should have added this earlier, but when Tien's and Franz was attacking her, they said they were purposely stabbing her reproductive organs.
Wow.
Yeah. And in 2015, Alison started a petition to make it so that the people who did this to get against her and attacked her wouldn't be released from prison. However, Franz Dutoit and Tiens Krager got parole and released in July of 2023. They only served 28 years. Alison fought from the moment she heard that they were eligible for parole to make sure that they didn't. They must comply with specific parole conditions and will be subject to supervision for the rest of their life. They have to be supervised every day for the rest of their life. But when asked, a spokesperson for DCS said Wednesday that year that parole conditions are never disclosed to the public. When asked whether Alison was involved in the parole process, he said parole consideration process involves a victim to be able to make representation. The National Correctional Services Board, chaired by a high court judge and other professionals such as magistrate, lawyers, social workers, criminologists, medical doctors, professors, and members of the public, are part of the parole consideration process for a prisoner's profile. So a presentation is then made to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services for final decision. The decision to release Dutoit and Kruger on parole also sent out shockwaves through the police in Africa. So they're out now.
I'm so mad.
Yeah. After the judge said they should never be released.
Yeah, literally.
And you freaking release them just so that they can do this to somebody else. It makes me so mad.
What is wrong with you?
But Alison is an amazing person, and the fact that she survived this is just a miracle all around.
Yeah.
And she's just she was like, whenever I heard this story, she was an inspiration to me. And just immediately I was like, wow, like she's just, and like I know she's telling her story, and she has like a TikTok.
Yeah.
So go follow her. She has that documentary. Go watch that documentary. It's amazing. I just also wanted to spread light on her story, because I felt like it was the right thing to do, and it just impacted me, like myself, just so much. It made me realize, like, wow, you can really get through anything. And the fact that she was able to get through that is just wow.
That's like one of the cases that I'm never gonna forget, just because that was so like traumatizing for her. Like, and I can like I can't even imagine like putting myself in that situation in my head. Like, it's just, I
don't think I can.
It's just terrifying, and like literally like what is wrong with them?
Yeah, what's wrong with Franz and Tien's, whatever. I don't freaking care about your names. I hate you.
Exactly, we hate you.
We love the other Tien.
Yeah.
We love Melvin Humple and all the doctors that helped her and saved her. And we love Alison.
We thought we liked the judge, but we don't.
It wasn't the judge's fault.
Was it?
No.
Okay, good.
It wasn't the judge's fault. No, because he wasn't a judge at that time.
Okay.
But he put in there they should not get paroled. He even called them like inherently like evil.
Mm-hmm.
And he did everything in his power to make sure that they wouldn't get released, but they still got released because the parole board sucks.
And literally.
Like, they only served freaking 28 years. Like, that makes me so freaking angry.
I know, me too.
Like, I can't even imagine how Alison is feeling. Like, she's probably freaking terrified. She's probably living every day, like, scared because, like, they're out. They can go back for her. Like, and, like,
crazy.
Like, in the documentary, you see, oh my god. So, let me show you their faces, because they're ugly. Alison's beautiful. Franz and Tien's.
Ew.
Yeah. And, like, I don't think you can see them now, but, like, oh god, is that what he looks like now? That white-haired guy with no hair?
Oh god. He looks like Mr. Clean with a beard.
That's a compliment. I don't want to say that.
Mr. Clean if he was a POS.
This was Alison then.
I remember. Yeah, I seen that picture.
And then this is her now. Yeah, I guess this is like the most recent picture. This is her now. She's pretty.
Yeah, she's
so pretty. I think I followed her on TikTok.
I'll follow her too.
Yeah, but like, I just can't believe it. Like, why even let them out? There was like a picture in the documentary that was like, it made Franz look so bad.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And I was just like, yeah, show the bad pictures because he sucks. Yeah, so sorry that this episode was heavy. We might have to do something paranormal next. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or something like later. But yeah, so if you want to see pictures of Alison and pictures of Franz and Tien's, I guess, and pictures of the nice Tien and everything, then you can go ahead and follow our socials. And also, if you want to see the cryptids from the bark box from the my dogs got, you can follow our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dreadfully Twisted Podcast. If you want to send us your stories or cases or anything you want us to cover, please email us at dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com or post it on our Reddit page, /r Dreadfully Twisted Pod. And subscribe to our Spotify and YouTube. Give us reviews, please. 5-star reviews. 5 stars. 5-star reviews. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
That was supposed to be an echo.
But please give us reviews. We recommend 5 stars.
Yeah.
Because it really does help us. Please share the podcast to your friends and family that you think will listen. Please help us stay relevant in the charts because it really, really helps us out. And please just, share us and
We love you.
We love you.
And be a good person.
Yeah, don't be like Tians and Franz.
Yeah, don't do that. Be a bad person.
Be like the other Tian.
Yeah.
Be a good person like him.
Yeah.
Try to stay positive. You can get through anything if you really believe in it, and Alison is a light in that.
Yes,
she shows
exactly.
That. And look out for your friends.
Be nice.
Be happy, because life is a magical thing.
Yeah.
And we love you.
We love you, and we will see you next week.
Yep. Okay. Bye.
Bye.